But they did in Evergreen enough. Basically on metal. Get a goal from some.
That's fine. Just do that.
You here today? Okay.
Good evening, everybody. It's 5:30, October 7th, 2025, and I'm calling the Durango City Council to order. Could we get roll call?
Councilor Gonzalez, Councilor Koso,
Here.
Mayor Yazzie,
Here.
Councilor Beal, Mayor Pro Tem Woodruff.
Here.
The next item on the agenda, Mayor, is reading of the Indigenous Land Acknowledgement.
This is a call to honor and respect Indigenous sovereignty and self-determination. As residents and visitors of Durango, we are called upon to educate ourselves about the history and cultural heritage of the land we inhabit. The city of Durango is situated on the ancestral homelands and territories of the Nuchu, Ute, Jicarilla Apache, Pueblos of New Mexico, Hopi-Sinom, Hopi, and Dene Navajo nations. The original stewards of this land were forcibly removed and exposed to countless atrocities by the United States government, including repeatedly broken treaties, forced assimilation, the tragic legacy of Indian boarding schools, and the loss of ancestral homelands. We recognize lasting generational trauma exists within Native communities today. We affirm the continuing importance of ancestral sites to descendant communities as integral to the living cultural landscape. This acknowledgement only becomes meaningful when combined with accountable relationships and informed actions. May this serve as a step toward inclusion and reconciliation.
The next item on the agenda is the introduction of translator.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Liz Torres y estoy aquí con mi colega Sam Guzmán. Estamos aquí con la Cooperativa Comunitaria de Lenguaje para poder darles justicia lingüística y así que todos puedan hablar y escuchar en el idioma de su corazón. En un momento vamos a encender interpretación por medio de la aplicación de Teams y podrá usted tener acceso por medio del menú de más y allí seleccionar inglés o español. Hi, good evening. My name is Liz Torres and I am here with my colleague Sam Guzman. And we are here so that we can provide language justice for those who are only Spanish speakers. And we will turn it on in a moment and you can select it from the More menu and select the language of your heart. And we can go ahead and get started.
Item 3 is opening remarks by mayor and council.
Kip, do you have a opening remark?
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of items just to talk about. First off, a thank you to the City Finance Department. We got the budget book put out, and for a details crazy guy like me, that was an incredibly well organized and helpful tool. So thank you, Finance Department, for that. I recently toured the VOA Community Shelter last week, an organization that does an invaluable service in the community and is certainly under a lot of financial pressures due to budget cuts. I wanted to share with the rest of council and our audience that they have an open tour on the 27th at 1 p.m. If council members or audience members haven't been able to tour and see the activities that the VOA shelter is doing, we highly recommend you try and take part in that survey or in that tour. And then finally, are there any Youth Advisory Commission, the Mayor's Youth Advisory Commission members in the audience? I just wanted to highlight if staff, audience members, if you haven't taken a look at the applications for that Youth Advisory Commission, it was really impressive, this group of teenagers that's applying to be on the commission. And so all the way from folks who had taken leadership programs at Brown University to a dynamic sister pair that are both working hard for their school, as well as the mayor's group. It's really neat to see the qualifications and the efforts that some of these teenagers are putting in, some even that changed state law. If state law had changed because of my involvement, it would have been to deter bad behavior, not encourage the good stuff that they're doing as well. So anyway, wanted to highlight that and appreciate the time. Thanks, Mayor.
Mm-hmm.
Item 4 is presentations and proclamations with the Powerhouse Science Center update on 4.1.
Mayor Yazzie, City Council, thank you for the chance to share an update with City Council. My name's Jeff Susser. I'm the Executive Director of the Powerhouse. And I'm here to share with you some updates on the work and plans at the museum. Okay, good. I just want to make sure I've seen slides correctly. The Powerhouse started as a Durango Children's Museum in 1994 above the attic of the Durango Arts Center. Children's museums are a symbol of the value a community places on children. They function as community infrastructure alongside schools, libraries, parks to support thriving families and contribute to the quality of life of residents. Over the last 20 years, the Powerhouse has invested $6.5 million to transform a vacant power plant building owned by the city into a vibrant space for children. 25 years ago this week, City Council sat in chamber debating what to do with a $300,000 grant from the State Historic Fund to fund historic repairs. And the decision council had to make was that barely scratched the surface of what it was going to take to save the building. And the conversation was, should we send the money back to the state and tear the building down? And it was a group of volunteers led by Bill Carver and a group of friends that really advocated among council for the chance to save the building and dedicate it as a space for kids. Since that time, we've had almost 5,500 families, individuals, businesses that have invested in this mission, and almost 300,000 visitors to the space. 3.5 years ago, we started re-looking at our strategic plan coming out of the pandemic. We spent 6 months talking to the community, including a joint session with City Council to inform the future of the museum, and identified 5 areas of focus. One of the things that we learned in listening to community needs and looking at our audience was that our core audience in the museum space were toddlers through elementary age kids and their caregivers and educators. So we looked at 5 areas. Bright futures, really prioritizing early learners in the space and through our programs. Being partners with educators, parents, and kids in supporting curious, capable, and science literate students. Place, developing our riverfront as a compelling destination for residents and visitors to our community. Welcome, really prioritizing access and welcome to all communities within the space. And performance, really functioning at a high level as a partner with the city in operating this facility for the benefit of the community. Over the 2 years since we adopted that plan, I want to just highlight a few key accomplishments towards that strategic plan. The first is we expect to be under construction within the month on a licensed childcare center that will open September 2026, serving 40 or so toddlers and preschool students. Our camps and enrichment programs have more than doubled than prior to the pandemic, and we will have served over 1,600 students this year through summer and after school programs. We're reaching and seeing all record numbers of members and visitors to the museum in each of the last 3 years, including over 1,000 members since the beginning of 2024. Oh. Yeah, sorry. We've expanded our financial aid program that includes free access to families available through the Durango Public Library, scholarships to education programs, reduced access opportunities to the museum itself through the Museums for All program. And then for the first time since we opened as a museum, we relooked at museum master plan, how to use this 1.5 acre campus on our riverfront for the highest and best good for the community. And that's what I want to talk about tonight. So why are we looking at reinvesting in the museum? First, to support multi-generational community, a core vision of the city to be a space that welcomes a diverse multi-generational community, or offering affordable, inclusive space for families and children to connect, to create a rich learning and play space for children, to address substantial concerns around safety and functionality in the historic power plant building, and to really look at the opportunities of our downtown riverfront. What you see here is kind of a big picture concept of how that 1.5 acre space functions. In the lower right corner, you can see the gray box. That's the Carlton Family Science Education Center. That space has been our staff offices and classroom space. That's the building that would be redeveloped as a childcare center. It doesn't impact at all museum operations. It's a building most families don't step into, and that will have 40 kids in there almost every day of the year. The triangular areas to the top and to the right are 2 areas that we would expect to develop as outdoor play spaces for kids that are pretty much just gravel and dirt right now, and really expand the experience. The historic buildings in the center, and at the bottom of that is identifying the opportunity of a community plaza open to the public as an extension of Riverfront Park. So the things that would include come out of that renewal would be the licensed childcare center, redeveloping the boiler room as a multifunction space and the primary entrance to the museum, developing new interactive experiences inside the museum, developing over 10,000 square feet of outdoor space that's currently underutilized, inviting the community to co-imagine with us what our downtown riverfront could look like outside the front door of the museum, open and free to the public on the museum campus, but not part of the museum experience, and caring for and preserving this historic treasure as a facility. This is just a quick rendering showing the types of experiences that would be intended and expected within that space. The idea is to really open up the main gallery space as a more flexible, open play space, learning space, and community meeting space, prioritizing different areas of science exploration for kids, looking at what a back garden experience could look like, and the idea of developing the boiler room as the new entryway to the museum with classrooms, indoor restrooms, and all of the support spaces for the museum in that space. So why now? So I said we've experienced the 3 busiest years in the history of the powerhouse in the last 3 years. We're operating at capacity. If we're to continue to support community use and growth into that space, we need to invest in the facilities and experiences that support that. By redeveloping the Carlton Center, we create new needs for classroom space supporting school-age kids. The redevelopment of the boiler room will let us do that. So it really is hand in hand with us expanding access to early learning spaces in the community to make sure that we don't lose our ability to support school-age kids through field trips, after-school programs, summer camps. Right now, we have a golden opportunity. We've secured enterprise zone tax credit status for the project, as well as a brand new tax credit program through Colorado Creative Industries. For the next 2+ years, investments in the powerhouse and the historic power plant are in a half-off sale. The state of Colorado is crediting back 25% of gifts to individuals and businesses, and almost a quarter of what we invest in the facility comes back to the organization to help really let us invest in the facilities that support the work of the museum. And we've secured $2.5 million towards what we hope is an $8 million goal of reinvesting in the space. The last piece of that project is the historic preservation of the building. Historic preservation isn't the mission of the powerhouse. It's not our identity. We try to recognize the difference of our mission versus our location. We're in a city-owned historic property that is protected by a conservation easement between the city of Durango and the Colorado Historical Foundation that requires maintaining the historic facade of that facility. And that facility, after 15 years after the last restoration, is in need of substantial investment. We've taken some initial steps towards that by undertaking a professional assessment of the needs and challenges with the building, what needs to be done to keep that building in good working order for generations to come, and alleviating one of the causes of degradation of the building, which was stormwater runoff off of 14th Street. And so we partnered with the Urban Renewal Authority, the private landowner next door, and the powerhouse itself to repave that and address the stormwater issues coming off 14th Street. However, there's substantial work left. There's 10,000 bricks on the building that have been damaged by water and need to be replaced. There are roof joists that are faulty and causing leaks within the building that are undermining the structure of the building. And there's some historic treatments of windows and doors that are part of the easement granted by the city, getting us to restore those historic conditions. The current estimate of the cost of all those repairs is almost $500,000. We have a grant pending through the State Historic Fund for about half of that funding, and that is the maximum amount of requests we can make to the state. That grant requires local match, and we have requested the city to consider an appropriations request for the other 50% of that cost spread over 2026 and 2027 to help us honor that historic easement, maintain the building in good, healthy order as we make investments in classrooms, exhibits, outdoor spaces. So finally, the powerhouse represents a successful public-private partnership between the city and the powerhouse as a nonprofit. The city's already helped strengthen that partnership last year by amending our lease to actually explicitly allow childcare as one of the functions occurring on the campus. That's allowed us to bring over $1 million into the community, the largest grant to support the expansion of childcare in La Plata County on record. As I mentioned, we have an appropriations request related to historic preservation of the building that we're asking City Council to consider in what I know is a difficult budget conversation for this year and next year. While we have a vision and that we're bringing to the community, ultimately, this is your property. This is your building. So part of the work ahead is to make sure the vision we have for the building aligns with city staff and City Council's vision for what that campus should be, how it should function, what should happen to the historic property. So coming out of today, making sure that we have a chance to invite feedback from City Council and city leadership of whether that alignment matches the goals and priorities that the city has for their property and the riverfront. As I mentioned, our hope is to initiate what would be the 4th capital campaign supporting the powerhouse building and the experience for visitors with a goal of hopefully an $8 million plus campaign, developing and investing in our riverfront, and making sure that we have a partnership in place that sets the conditions of success for that project. And then finally, we entered into a lease with the city in 2007 that was on a 25-year term that under the terms of that lease that we are to come together at least every 5 years to make sure the terms of the lease serve the interest of all parties involved. Right now, that lease is scheduled to expire 3 years after we invest $8 million in the property. Making sure that there is a term of occupancy that aligns with the investment made by outside donors in the space is going to be a critical step. And so we look forward to the chance of exploring the future of what our lease relationship with the city could look like. Appreciate the time.
Thank you, Jeff. Are there any questions or?
Is it appropriate to ask questions for a presentation?
And what minute Jess came in? If you could note that for the record.
Yes, not a problem. I got it.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for the presentation. Can you go back to your first slide? You mentioned something about historic tax credits. Am I right about that, or did I just?
In the first slide was a grant from the State Historic Fund to the city of Durango that was the first gift in support of the preservation of that building. So it wasn't tax credits, but it was a grant.
Are you eligible for historic tax credit?
We believe so. So the work on the outside of the building and the adaptive reuse of the interior of that building, we believe would qualify. The state of Colorado has up to $1 million in state tax credits that could apply to a project like that. It is a very competitive project that will open up, I believe, in January. So our intent is to apply for state historic tax credits for the project as well.
And what would be the timeline? So it looks like you're requesting funds, $250,000 from the city. What would does that line up if we were, for the sake of this conversation, to allocate funding? Does it line you up for the tax credit?
I believe so. Yeah, I think it matches well with the timing of the tax credit program. Yes, I think that that would match really well. And
you mentioned that I'm familiar with the project. I have a chance to meet with some of your folks and look at the blueprints that were presented. And we know that there's potential for childcare in this space. Did you mention how many?
Yeah, we would have space for 3 classrooms. The intent is to have 1 classroom for toddlers, 2 for preschool students. And right now it looks like the occupancy of that space will probably be between 40 and 43 children at licensed capacity.
Okay. And what about, is there potential to adjust that as, for example, if it turns out you need more room for 3-year-olds versus toddlers? Yeah,
we designed the space. So right now it's intended as 1 toddler and 2 preschool classrooms, but they're designed such that it could be all toddler classrooms. It could be all preschool classrooms without making any significant changes. The changes would be to furnishings, not to physical structure.
Okay. Because if I remember correctly, you can have more 3-year-olds than toddlers. Would that help financially if you had more of one age group than another?
Yeah, we are looking at that. I think it is us balancing business model, community need, and educational environment. And so the thinking behind the 1 toddler and 2 classroom model is that a child would come start in a program at 2 and carry with us all the way through kindergarten. So that's the idea of 3 classrooms and keeping a continuity of care throughout those early learning years.
And just so I'm here, it says repair costs are estimated at $482. The State Historic Fund will grant $250. So the request is for the additional fund.
That's correct.
Okay. And that's to the physical structure. That wouldn't go towards childcare per se.
No, that's entirely structural repair and historic facade.
Okay. And I guess, can you go back a little bit when this property, so you'll forgive me, I know this project happened some time ago, but originally, how was the property conveyed to the organization?
Yeah, and so did you see how it was conveyed to the organization? Yeah, I would say for the project started in 2000, and for the first 7 years, it was just goodwill between the parties, and the powerhouse actively raised money, undertook environmental remediation and historic preservation. And then a lease was entered into in spring of 2007 that formalized the relationship, and that lease was conditional on the powerhouse raising and spending at least $4.5 million in developing the property. And once that happened in 2011, it lives as an unconditional lease for the remainder of that 25-year term.
And since that time, has the city invested any money in the physical repairs of the building?
Yeah, I believe it was 2 years ago. I don't know, Jose, if you could correct that. We had some issues with our HVAC system that the city council appropriated, I believe, about $60,000 to support those repairs, and a portion of that money was also able to fund the historic preservation plan, the facility assessment and historic preservation plan. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff, for the presentation. Always good to see more childcare capacity coming online. So thank you. I can't remember if Commissioner Gonzalez asked this specifically, but the $250,000 that is pending, that is conditional upon a match by, and is it solely a municipality, like a local match, or?
No, there's no specification of where that match fund comes from.
Okay, so as long as there's a match from something that the state could potentially match up to $250,000.
Correct.
Okay,
That's right.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just to piggyback on that real quick. So if you got tax credits or funding from the state, would that also go towards, no, that's a state historic fund. That's different. So you'd have to fundraise basically 200 and whatever, 50,000, a little less. You've also gotten money from grants for like the landscaping and stuff through the Creative Economy Commission and DCD, correct?
Correct. Yeah, we received, I believe, a $30,000 grant through the arts and the Lodgers Tax Arts and Culture Fund that helped fund the development of the museum master plan that I presented today. And we also received a grant this year of, I believe, $15,000 from that same fund to help build out the toddler and preschool playground that'll be part of the licensed child care center.
And then wasn't there one for one of your exhibits?
Yeah, and then we had a third grant that helped with bringing in Roots of Wisdom, which was an exhibit around Indigenous conservation leadership that came in, I believe, in 2022. And then, frankly, you all have been very good to us through very many different pots. We've also received funding through Renew grants to support signage and landscaping.
Yeah.
And we received support from Parks and Rec to support the development of the plaza with shade structure. So, yeah, yes.
Okay. And then I had one more question, which was, childcare. The Alliance is requesting $250,000 or something from $260,000 from us for childcare. Are you working with them at all in the childcare development strategy to help with this?
Yes, I worked a lot with Sarah. I've worked a lot with Heather at the Early Childhood Council. I think the honest answer is that they have that need, and I think we're a bit ahead of the curve of how they expect to deploy those funds. That while they are raising money for that investment fund, our project is going to start in the next 30 days and is going to be complete by May. So I'm not sure that, while we absolutely would love support from the Alliance and First Southwest Bank and all their partners, my understanding is that they're in a fundraising mode rather than a granting mode at this point, and that we're likely to be up and running as a center before they're granting to support capital investments in childcare. But
Your childcare is opening in 2026, September?
Correct. Yes,
Okay.
September 2026.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Jessica. All right, thanks, everyone. Yeah.
The next presentation is Durango High School Student Council.
Hello, everyone. My name is Delia Bong, and I'm the Executive Student Body Vice President at Durango High School. I'm here tonight to represent DHS and give some updates of all of the amazing things we're doing. First, I want to start with our homecoming week, which will be next week, October 13th through the 18th. So we're going to kick off the homecoming week on Monday, October 13th, with the parade at 6 p.m. And the whole community is welcome to come support all the diverse groups at DHS downtown on Main Street. Then we have the homecoming football game tailgate, which is on Friday, October 17th, and it starts at 4 p.m. At tailgate, every club at DHS is offered to fundraise right out in front of DHS, and the community is invited to come enjoy food, games, and more. And then the last couple of community-wide events during homecoming are the girls' volleyball games on Friday, October 17th at 4, 5, and 6 p.m. and on Saturday, October 18th at 11 a.m. and 12 p.m. There's also boys' soccer games on Saturday, October 18th at 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. And finally, the homecoming football game is Friday, October 17th at 6 p.m. Next, I want to highlight some of the DHS student celebrations we have. So 86%, we had an 86% passer rate for AP exams last year, the highest in over a decade or more. Roughly 500 students took 900 exams, meaning 774 classes qualified for college credit. Along with AP, we had students pass FLC and PCC classes, totaling 2,628 college-level classes passed last year alone, which saved or will save families an equivalent of $7.8 million in college tuition. Next is our Knowledge Bowl team. The Knowledge Bowl team will be competing at Dinosaur Ridge Science Quiz Bowl at Colorado School of Mines, October 18th. Last year, we placed 5th out of 24 teams and were on Rocky Mountain PBS. And then lastly, the marching band. Our marching band is competing at regionals on October 16th and hoping to qualify for state. Community members can come see their show, Forever Young, on Saturday, October 11th at 9:30 a.m. at the DHS Stadium. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, thank you for keeping us updated.
Next on the agenda is city manager updates.
Yes, Mayor and Council, I do have one update. It is with Tim Walsworth, this president or the CEO of the Business Improvement District, to submit the 2026 operating plan and budget submission for bid.
I just got a promotion to CEO. My official title is Executive Director of the Durango Business Improvement District. Thank you, sir.
If you'd like to change it, if I can find that for you, I'd be happy to.
I like it. So thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Thank you, City staff, for giving BID a little bit of time. Tim Walsworth, Executive Director, Durango Business Improvement District, or the BID. And I'm here today just to very briefly present our 2026 operating plan and budget to you. Every BID in Colorado is required to submit their budget to their local municipality by September 30th every year. And thank you, City Manager, for giving me a little bit of your time. The bid is funded by a mill levy that's applied to about 400 commercial properties, Central Business District and North Main. And so our services are designed to support every business in those 400 properties. In your meeting packet today, there's a brief history of the bid. There's details on our work in 2025 to date. And then you also have our 2026 budget, which the bid board approved at a special meeting a couple weeks ago, September 12th. The increases and decreases that I'll discuss today are looking at BID's 2026 budget compared to projected 2025 year-end totals. So in 2026, BID is budgeting for total revenues to grow by 1%. 91%, so the vast majority of those revenues are from the 2.0 mill levy applied to those 400 properties. That revenue source is expected to grow by 4%, and that's based on the initial assessment that we recently received from the county assessor for property values within our boundaries. Then there's some minor decreases in some of the other smaller revenue streams. The total expenses are budgeted for a 4% decrease, but that's really due to the fact that we had some one-time expenses this year that we were able to afford because in 2024 we ended with a positive net income. So the expenses are very flat if you were to back out a lot of those one-time only expenses. So let me give you a few highlights of what that budget will allow BID to accomplish in 2026. So we will continue to operate a successful rewards program during the holidays. That's an incentive program for people to shop local. And that will produce at least $150,000 in spending at local businesses in probably about a 2-week time frame. We'll operate a new buy one, get one promotion for a new program we have. It's called BID's Heart of Durango Dollars. This is a local gift card. It's good at Shirley's place, good at some of the places Dave works. And that thing is really taken off. There's close to 1,000 of those cards out there in the community right now. And we're going to get a lot more out there when we offer a buy one, get one promotion. We'll do a promotion or some type of campaign to support our North Main District businesses. We'll continue our active presence on social media. We really pride ourselves on this. We'll continue to provide accurate, timely, brief information for the busy business owner. We send a weekly newsletter to 1,800 subscribers, 61% open rate. We operate 2 websites that continue to grow, 200,000 page views, 100,000 users on an annual basis. We'll operate 4 annual events, our San Juan Brew Fest, the Downtown Balloon Glow, the Children's Halloween event, and Singing with Santa. And we'll also continue to operate the ambassador program with a little bit of support from the city. So thank you for, I'm sure you found that in that budget book, didn't you? It's in there, man. Thank you for that support. That will produce at least 10,000 positive interactions with people visiting downtown, primarily in the busy summer months. And then we will continue our financial and our program partnerships in the Durango Welcome Center with the city and the Visit Durango and Fort Lewis College. So I just wanted to hit some high points. Any questions or comments for me?
Tim, in the packet, it suggested that there was some challenges to the partnerships related around the Heart of the Durango Dollars. Can you just talk a little bit more about that? Because I really like that program.
Yeah, so we enjoy a partnership with the city, the Multimodal Department's Way to Go Club. And so, you know, when you're in that club, you score points, right, for taking a trip outside of your vehicle. And then when you get enough points, you turn it in for a prize. The prize is BID's Heart of Durango Dollars gift card. And I do not know how that will continue in the next year. It's been very successful, tons of redemptions, but I haven't had any convo with Liam or Devin there to see if that's going to continue next year.
Okay.
I hope that it will. And it's just a wash. Money in, money out, so it won't affect the bottom line.
But it definitely supports local businesses, city spending on local businesses. So we're big fans of that. Thanks.
Yep.
Shirley?
Thank you. Thanks, Tim. Thanks for the update. So just in relation to the ambassadors, are they BID employees or city employees?
Yep, they are BID employees, regular, normal paid employees, our hourly wage. They're seasonal and very part-time. I think about 10 of them on an annual basis.
Okay, and is it the same people every year that come?
Well, in this year, 25, we had almost the exact same crew as 24. So as you can imagine, less training. We don't have to order new uniforms, all those kind of things. So it created some efficiencies. You know, we strive to get 75% of them to come back, but these are typically folks who are retired, who are looking to keep busy. And life, kids, their parents, stuff happens, and not everyone's always able to return. But we love it when they do.
Okay. And are you paying at least $17 an hour?
Yes, at least. We try to keep up with that. And in fact, I don't know the exact number, but I think it's a little higher than that and a little higher wage if you've been with us for multiple years. We have 2 or 3 of those ambassadors that are probably 4 or 5 seasons in. And then, of course, we work on holidays as we should because it's busy out there, and we pay a nice increase in the wage on those busy weekends.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much.
Yep.
questions, but thank you, Tim.
Okay.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is committee, board, and liaison reports. And in your packet, you will see a report from the Community Development Commission, as well as the Historic Preservation Board.
Alrighty, so do we want to start with board reports?
Sure. I had the privilege to go to Mountain Middle School last Friday. Had a conversations with students. I tried not to just be a talking head on the stage for everybody, but we talked about civic engagement, especially what it looks like in kids that are 8 to 12, and then how they can be a larger part of the community when they play an active role. So it was really fun. But I tell you what, man, they have a ton of energy at that school. It was a little crazy, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Did they bring up having lemonade come out of the water fountain or the water fountains
I
instead
think
of?
it was just like pure sugar.
Yeah,
I think, yeah,
it's great.
or Red Bull.
Ideas.
Yeah, Red Bull. A lot of Red Bull. Also, along with Mayor Yazzie, we were able to speak about the exciting announcement of Durango playing host to the 2030 UCI World Championships coming to town in 2030. So really exciting to see so many community members that were excited about it, and then being able to celebrate how many community members that represent us on both the national and the international stage. But yeah, being able to hold the 40th anniversary of that race back here in Durango is really special. So excited to be a part of that. And lastly, I thought I saw Becky around here somewhere. Yeah. I met with Professor Becky Clausen from Fort Lewis. We talked about a project that one of her classes is doing, and the best way to have her class bring up this engagement with City Council. And so I'm really excited to see how this engagement plays out with Fort Lewis and this relationship with the city. Yeah, I'm really excited about it. So it's good to be out in the community and getting a lot of good stakeholder input, organically by just being out there. So it was great. Thank you.
Very briefly, on the Airport Commission, we're looking for a city rep for the Airport Commission. Experience in aviation, trades, or construction is great, but a very important commission. Big things happening out at the airport, so just wanted to make sure we mentioned that. Thank you.
For my board report. Okay, so I also had a grade school encounter. So I went to Juniper School, which Jeff's son goes to, and he let me know you worked at the Powerhouse. But it was the 3rd and 4th graders, and it was also about civic engagement. So I tried to explain a little bit about civic engagement, but mainly they wanted to know if I like dogs. So it was real enjoyable, and what they get out of it is their interaction with somebody different who's involved with the city. So that was really fulfilling. And then, of course, on the 23rd, I went to the Engage Durango Forum at the Rec Center and had the opportunity to meet 3 new people. And then on the 25th, I went to the Region 9 meeting, and that was held here at the Holiday Inn. And so that was my second meeting with Region 9, because the last time it was Olivier was on that board. So now I'm on that board. So, I'm making good contact with some of the people in the region and learning about what's happening with funding and some of the programs that go throughout our region. And it's really interesting. And then, of course, with Dave, we did Buckley Park extravaganza about 2030 Durango celebration for the World Championship. And then on the 2nd, along with Kip, we went on the FAB Capital Improvement Projects tour, and we went up to Durango Mesa Park and got an update. And we also went down here behind the, it's not Red Lion, Doubletree, and saw the path and the bridge, and talking about the construction timeline and when that will be completed. So that was all good. And then actually yesterday with Dave, myself, and Kip, we attended the joint sales tax, joint sales tax meeting with the county, and that was a good, great meeting, finding out, where our money dollars are going to be spent. And then the best part is tomorrow at noon from 12 to 1:30, I have my office hours at the library. So if you would like to speak more, you can come down and visit me at my office hours. So thank you.
Next item is public comment on items under consideration for adoption. If we could have the recording, please.
Public comment is encouraged on agenda items set for consideration and a vote by the council tonight. Public comments on items not set for consideration by the council come later in the meeting. Please begin your comments by stating the agenda items set for a vote you intend to speak on, your full name, and if you are a resident of the city of Durango. Make your comments directly to the council. Do not expect a response from the council or staff. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person, unless modified by the council. Unused time is not transferable to other speakers. Comments must be specific to the item you identified when you began your comments. Profanity, hate speech, personally derogatory remarks, speech unrelated to the item you identified, or other speech that is disruptive to the meeting will be ruled out of order by the chair, and any remaining time will be forfeited by the speaker. Exceeding the time limit infringes on the rights of others and is out of order. Only a majority vote of the council can modify time limits. Please note, you must sign up prior to the mayor calling the item on the agenda. Signing up after the item is called will result in your name not being called to speak.
We have a total of 15 people signed up to speak under this item. The first is Chris Paulson. I had Chris Paulson down for under 8.6.1 for the elimination of parcel minimum requirements.
Yeah, my name is Chris Paulson. I live at 423 East 30th Street in Durango. I did attend the, I guess it was community development meeting on last week, and the issue of fairness came up. And I thought about that. How fair is it that we have 3 neighborhoods that there are ADUs, EN1, EN2, EN3, but we don't have Sky Ridge, we don't have Twin Buttes, we don't have Three Springs, we don't have any of these other neighborhoods. So essentially that alone is not fair. And then also it came to light that there are short-term rentals, I believe in EN1 and EN2. And those people, as I understand it, and I may be wrong about this, but they have rentals, they also pay like sales tax. Hospitality tax for hotels and motels is now at 10.4%. That's city, state, lodging, and county. So people that are not renting, who are not paying that tax, are obviously getting an unfair advantage. And in my neighborhood, which is EN3, we have people advertising ADUs or their homes on the Airbnb. And so they rent it for 30 days. Now for 30 days, that's excluded for us, not counted as a short-term rental, which means they're not paying any of that tax, even though those are essentially commercial establishments. They are essentially basically acting as hotels and motels, but they're not paying any of that tax. And so that alone also is unfair. And it's also unfair to the people of EN3 where there is no allowance for short-term rentals, whereas 30 days is a short-term rental. So I guess there's any number of inequities and unfairness all this already. And also, it also came out about the quotas. There's apparently a number of quotas for short-term rentals, but there's no quotas for ADUs in these 3 neighborhoods. As a result, some blocks are getting inundated with these ADUs. And as I said, you can rent them for 30 days, which are basically short-term rentals, and they pay no sales tax, and they're basically inundating these neighborhoods and these blocks with all sorts of cars and, people coming in and out, and, they're essentially commercial establishments. I guess what I would like to say is I feel there's already so many inequities in this system that I do not want to see additional inequities put in by eliminating or reducing the minimum lot size. And also, the other concern I have is I talked to one of my neighbors who grew up in that, we are the oldest neighborhood in the city of Durango, Animas City. He said he can remember as a first grader them putting in the sewer pipes, old vitrified clay. And I said, well, how old were you then? Well, I was 6. And what year was that? That was 1956. Now you do the math. You can see how old those pipes are. I personally, within the last year, have had 2 backups. I'm still trying to figure out, how that all happened because I had all my pipes replaced several years ago with the PVC. So I don't have the old Orangeburg types. That's coming, and I did call a plumber who said it was coming from the city. So essentially, I don't want to see additional ADUs in these old neighborhoods because the pipes are all old. Everything's ancient back there. So there's any number of reasons, and I don't think we should be adding to the inequities and unfairness of the whole situation. I'd really like to see, I believe that at one point the council voted to have a study session on this and really look at all the taxing issues, the quota issues, what's a short-term rental, what's not a short-term rental, where are these ADUs going, who's being unnecessarily disadvantaged by the way that why this whole thing is being conducted. So thank you.
The next person signed up to speak is Joan Fontenot.
Hi, my name is Joan Foto, and I represent the Durango Area Association of Realtors, also known as DAR. We support eliminating minimum lot sizes for detached accessory dwelling units. It's a practical, property rights-based step that gives homeowners more flexibility while helping address our community's housing needs. Allowing ADUs on residential lots makes better use of existing land and infrastructure, supports gentler infill, and helps create housing for the local workforce. Realtors see every day that small incremental solutions like this make a real difference. By giving homeowners options to build responsibly on their own property, Durango can expand housing choice without relying on large-scale development. This is a kind of balanced policy that helps to keep Durango livable. Thank you.
Next up is Carol Grenoble.
Good evening. I've lived at 1001 East 3rd Avenue for the last 45 years. I'm opposed to the consideration of increasing the density of ADUs in the old Durango neighborhood for the following reasons. Allowing more structures decreases the green space. Second-story structures decrease airflow and access to sunlight. We do not want to be surrounded by more pavement and taller structures. Increasing the heat island effect with more buildings and infrastructures is not desirable. Parking is already a problem for 3rd Avenue and for all the other avenues in many other Durango neighborhoods, which the City Council has not addressed for as long as I've lived here. Research has confirmed that increased density elevates stress, noise, traffic, and violence. Increased density may also reveal the inadequacies of our public works infrastructure. We currently have an adequate ADU ordinance in place. Let's not blindly change an ordinance because there is pressure from developers and real estate agents. In the heart of the historic district, there are a large number of unoccupied homes with vacant ADUs. Durango's character and charm is in jeopardy. Out-of-state residents with sufficient capital can tear down old structures and have the increased liberty to add an ADU in the back of the lot. I do not enjoy the thought of this trend increasing. ADUs certainly increase property values, but often don't adequately address the lack of affordable housing for teachers, firemen, policemen, and other hardworking residents. Thank you. These letters to the
Next up is Karen McManus. Karen McManus.
Good evening. My name is Karen McManus. I live at 421 East 12th Street. And I'll just say I have a serious hearing situation. So if I'm repeating anything or I don't understand, please forgive me. I'm speaking on the proposal to eliminate or decrease minimum lot sizes for detached ADUs in established neighborhoods 1, 2, and 3. My basic hope is that you'll apply the brakes on this whole process. It's going very fast. The public really hasn't had an opportunity to know about it, to react, read about it, respond. And so I just hope that that will be done. I personally live in a neighborhood where there are several houses that are not in compliance regarding rentals, and there are multiple apartments. There are tons of people in these houses. They all have cars. There's little or no off-street parking provided for these rentals. And so as a result, there are all the street parking is taken up by these homes. And if we were to reduce or eliminate the lot sizes for the ADUs, the detached ADUs, I think this problem would increase significantly, and not to mention the other infrastructure needs that would be hurt. I know in our neighborhood, LPEA says, well, you know, the electrical needs on the grid are quite massive, and it causes some issues. So that's basically my thing. Thank you for considering my thoughts, and I appreciate your service.
Next is Sweetie Marbury.
My name is Sweetie Marbury. I live at 2256 West 2nd Avenue, and I live in EN2. Director Jamie Lopko said on September 29th, ADUs are an efficient way to increase housing options. They make use of existing infrastructure. They don't require substantial approvals, and they allow families to bring in elderly family members and children closer to home. They are a source of income and support compact development. They will not burden the infrastructure because they are already tied into the water and sewer systems. Council, if you trust the director, then I'm going to urge you to move this ordinance forward. I believe in fairness and equality for homeowners. I believe that they deserve the opportunity to make the decision to build an ADU by eliminating lot sizes. And that's a decision that should be the homeowners. According to planning, only 10 a year have been built. They have not overwhelmed neighborhoods, as opponents are trying to put that fear in there, because parking, setbacks, and homeowner occupancy are required in the guidelines. And yes, the homeowner can live in the smaller unit. I've heard this talk about rentals, and perhaps they're mixing up rentals with the ADU concept. Mayor Rendon bought his house 25 years ago with an ADU. Mayor Brookie has an ADU. Mayors Lee Miggs, Christina Renderly, and Dick White support the lot size changes. The same tired arguments are unfounded and recycled from 2014. Don't let fear drive your vote on an ADU. Durango needs housing options. ADUs will not solve all the problems, but council should be fair to all homeowners and give them the same opportunity for construction. The guidelines are critical. We understand that, and homeowner occupancy is the key. The 2014 lot sizes, it's outlived its usefulness in Durango. South of College, no lot size. EN1, 5,000 square feet. Ask yourself, why can't a lot of 6,000 in EN2 or 3 have a unit on the property? Consistency makes common sense. I've lived next door for 50 years to an ADU. There are working people next door. The young couple, one owns a business, one works for April Gardens. I encourage you to support the working people of Durango. Thank you.
And next is Linda Jones.
Hi, thank you. I'm here to support the ADU, and I've lived in two, and I've not had any problems. I've always had parking at both places, and I'm here because I'm a retired teacher from Wisconsin, and Durango's expensive. I mean, there's no doubt about it, but an ADU is a win for everybody, the homeowner and the renter. I now live in Brookstone, which is 55 and over community of condos, and I couldn't afford to live in Durango if I didn't have a wonderful landlord and a wonderful pension plan through my work. And it's just, I encourage you to pass the ADU ordinance. And I so appreciate what you've done. This is my first school board meeting, so I don't know what else you need. Okay, thank you.
Next up is Lee Miggs.
Lee Miggs is out of town and she asked me to read her email, if that's all right with you. Lee Miggs, to the mayor and city councilors, I'm writing to you as a 30-year resident of the downtown area neighborhood. I encourage you to vote in favor of the proposal to allow expansion of accessory dwelling units in Durango. ADUs, both attached and detached, have been permitted in my neighborhood. These additions to the neighborhood appear to be well thought out and attractive. Homeowners that build ADUs tend to take pride in their property, including new construction of 550 square foot units atop garages or as additions to the back of the main home. My support has one condition. I want to emphasize that, in my opinion, it's essential to maintain the rule that the homeowner must continue to occupy the property in either the main home or the ADU. This rule provides neighbors a point of contact when concerns may arise and helps ensure faster response time. What should motivate councilors to make changes necessary to expand development of ADUs in Durango as proposed? I think there are three main circumstances that point to the wisdom of expanding ADUs in Durango. First, the addition of ADUs combats the housing shortage in Durango. Second, ADU supports families caretaking a loved one. Third, for homeowners facing inflation, high interest rates, mortgages, and taxes, ADUs provide a needed income. Lee Miggs, former city councilor and mayor. Thank you.
Next up is Eric Kiefer.
Madam Clerk, can you make sure that the minutes reflect that the rules are suspended to allow the reading of someone's email?
Certainly. Eric Kiefer. I'll skip to the next one. Corbett Hoover.
Corbett Hoover. I live in the county, not inside town limits.
but operate a business in Durango and the vicinity. I'm also somewhat passionate about the bear problem, countywide, townwide. And sorry, I'm pulling up my points real quick. I understand there's a proposal to allow electric fencing inside Durango town limits. Seems like a pretty common sense issue. Electric fencing is being used in the county on thousands of properties, both agricultural and residential. Electric fencing and mats are allowed in Colorado all over the place. Our modern fencings don't create forest fires or in-town fires. Temporary designs can be put in place and removed if necessary. Chicken coops should be protected from bears. It's pretty just simple common sense item. So I'm in full support of that. I see trash all the time on the ground, on the roads as I drive in every morning. I have a student here at DHS. Bear safety is good for everybody. That's about all I have to share.
Yep. Next up is Lynn Brzez. Lynn Brzez. Skipping to Beatriz Garcia.
Able to speak this time. Good evening, Mayor and Council members. My name is Beatriz Garcia and I live in Durango, Colorado. I'm here because, as you know, the neighbors, family members, friends, workers are being taken by immigration enforcement inside Durango limits. All the detentions has been without any warrants, and residents have reported that ICE agents has been acting with intimidation, violating basic constitutional rights. Also, detentions have often occurred after they have completed court proceedings and ways our community believes involve racial profiling. This is causing fear, breaking families, and undermining public safety. I respectfully ask you, the city councils, to support, in addition to the resolution, a creation of a Durango City Oversight and Community Safety Task Force that will work closely with the city manager and the police department. Colorado has taken important steps to protect everyone's rights, regardless their immigration status. Under the Senate Bill 25-76, immigration agents must have a judicial warrant to enter non-public areas like schools, healthcare centers, and libraries. Local law enforcement cannot hold or delay someone's release just because ICE asks for it. And cities like ours are prohibited from sharing private information to immigration-related information unless is required by law. These are state protections that already exist, but they only work if our city actively enforces them and holds everyone accountable. U.S. cities have taken similar steps to protect residents and provide oversight. For example, in Chicago, there is free zones. California has taken other actions that the cities have been taking. I know that the intent here is public safety, but when people fear enforcement inside our city, they stop reporting crimes, stop attending to the court, and stop using essential services, which make everyone less unsafe. Please vote for the resolution and create and found a task force and direct city staff to return in 60 days to draft these policies. Durango can and should be part of a national leadership, and you can be part of it. So we can act now to protect all residents, honor state's laws, and stands for dignity, safety, and justice. Thank you.
Next up is Jay Conlon.
Good evening. My name is Jay Conlon. I live, work, and vote in Durango.
I'm speaking on item 11.1, reaffirming Durango's commitment to everyone in our community. I'm asking the City Council tonight to vote on creating a task force that centers local immigrant rights leaders and legal experts in developing a community safety plan that aligns with state laws, and commit that any future resolutions supporting immigrant families are created in collaboration with that task force. Our local immigrant community leaders and legal experts know better than anyone else how to keep our immigrant communities safe. Creating a task force without these voices would silence those most affected by any action it takes. I hope the City Council will vote to work with the experts to uplift immigrant voices and make this city a safe place for all who would call it home. Thank you.
Enrique Orozco. Enrique?
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thanks for giving me this space. Y'all know my name. My name is Enrique Arturo Orozco Perez. I'm the co-executive director of Compañeros Four Corners Immigrant Resource Center. Tonight isn't about restating what you've already heard. It's about what comes next. Our community has shown up, spoken up, and waited for leadership to meet that moment. So we're asking two clear actions. Vote to create a task force that brings immigrant rights leaders and local experts into the process of building a community safety plan that aligns with state law. And then commit to any future resolution addressing immigrant safety or inclusion be written with the task force, not for them, not about them, but with them. I just want to say this is about partnership, not politics. The path forward is already on the table. What's needed is for us to follow through. Our immigrant community continues to show up with courage and love for this city, and we ask that everyone do the same. Thank you.
Next is Rhiannon Stone Miller.
Good evening, council members. My name is Rhiannon Stone Miller, and I've called Durango home for over 3 years. I'm speaking on behalf of item 11.1. I'm speaking tonight in support of creating a new task force that centers local immigrant rights leaders and experts in developing a community action plan aligned with state law. Our immigrant neighbors are integral to the heart and vitality of this town, yet too often their voices are consulted last or not at all around policies that directly impact their safety and belonging. A community is only as safe as it is inclusive. When those most impacted are a part of designing solutions, everyone benefits. Trust deepens, relationships strengthen, and the policies we create become rooted in real experience and care. I also urge the council to ensure that any future resolutions or actions in support of our immigrant community are developed in collaboration with this task force. This approach builds not just policy, but trust, and trust is the foundation of true public safety. Thank you for listening and for taking this important step toward shared leadership and inclusion.
Next is Rachel Boyle, and she is online. Tom.
Good evening, council. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, can hear you.
Thank you. Again, good evening. My name is Rachel Boyle, and I'm speaking on item 11.1, Councilor Buell's proposed resolution. I'm here today as a committed community member and a teacher in Durango. For several months now, I have been witnessing the immense stress and fear that children and families in our community are living under due to ICE and the increase in unjust and illegal actions they're taking in our city and across our country. You have a responsibility in ensuring all members of the Durango community are safe and feel safe in our city. So I'm calling on you to not only pass a resolution, but to also vote in favor of a task force that will center the voices and expertise of local immigrant rights leaders and experts to develop a community safety plan that is proactive, actionable, and aligned with existing state laws to protect the rights and safety of immigrants in our city and in our state. Furthermore, I ask that any resolutions that you do develop or pass in support of our local immigrant community are written in direct collaboration with that task force. I want to thank you for the engagement and time you have given this critical issue already, and I want to urge you to take action sooner than later, work together with the people most knowledgeable and impacted by this issue, and enact plans and resolutions that will uphold and enforce state law, truly protect the rights and safety of our immigrant community from the discriminatory and illegal attacks they are under, and not merely pay lip service to the safety of families in our community. Thank you.
I'll return and see if Eric Kiefer or Lynn Bruzies are in the room. If not, Mayor, there is one additional person who signed up after we called the item that is online, if you would like to allow them to speak. That would be Rachel Turiel. Tom?
Rachel, you can unmute your mic and speak. And again,
Okay,
Madam Clerk.
can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great, thank you. Hi, my name is Rachel Turiel. I've been a resident of Durango for 30 years, and I actually would like to speak to 2 items tonight. The first one is 11.1. I want to say that I am in support of the city task force and very pleased that there's been an effort to movement on this topic. And so I just want to say my support for a task force for a community action plan in support of a safe path forward for our local immigrant community members. And then I also want to speak to 11.2 about the electric fencing in town. I've lived on this property that I'm on now on San Juan Drive for 27 years, and I planted about 10 fruit trees in my yard over the years and had a bear demolish, actually started by taking down a big branch of a pear tree and then came back the next night and demolished our apple tree. And I would love to be able to protect the trees that we've put so much time and love and resources into with a electric fence that would be temporary and up for, you know, just the times that the bears are passing through town, and hopefully the bears would come into town less if there were strong deterrents like this. And I'm complete. Thank you.
And Faye, if you could record an acclamation vote to suspend the rules. Thank you.
See which item they signed up under. That's under item 13, it looks like. So with that, it moves to the consent agenda. Consent agenda, starting with 8.1 is approval of minutes. 8.1.1 is approval of minutes of the City Council special meeting of September 16th, 2025. 8.1.2 is approval of minutes of the City Council regular meeting held September 16th, 2025. 8.2 is final reading of ordinances, with 8.2.1 an ordinance for text amendments to Chapter 27 of the City of Durango Municipal Code regarding updates to parking standards and other minor updates to enhance clarity. 8.2.2 is an ordinance adopting the liquor license rules of procedure. 8.3 is adoption of a resolution by consent. 8.3.1 is a resolution approving the allocation of the Renew grant funds. 8.4 is approval of other administrative items, with 8.4.1 being approval and placement of applicants to the Mayor's Youth Advisory Commission. There are no items under 8.5. 8.6 is introduction of ordinances, with 8.6.1 being an ordinance for text amendments to Chapter 27 of the City of Durango Municipal Code regarding the elimination of parcel area minimums for accessory dwelling units. 8.6.2 is an ordinance creating a speed limit on the Animas River Trail, and there are no requests for excused absences under 8.7.
Mayor, yeah, I'd like to pull actually a couple items. I'd like to pull 8.2.2 and 8.6.1.
Second.
Mayor Pro Tem Woodruff,
Yes.
Mayor Yazzie, Counselor Gonzalez, Counselor Beal, Counselor Koso.
Yes.
So that leaves us with 3 items pulled, one pulled by the city attorney. Do you have a preference for which one goes first, Mark? So item 8.2.2 was pulled. That's an ordinance adopting the liquor license rules of procedure.
Yes, ma'am. And
Do I need to make a motion first?
yes.
Yep, I'll make a
Sorry.
motion. You're good. I'll make a motion to approve an ordinance adopting a liquor license rules of procedure.
Second.
Now discussion.
Thank you, Counselor Buell, coming to my rescue. I just had a couple of questions. I don't think Deputy Clerk Florine is here to answer the question regarding the liquor. Maybe somebody else.
Possibly. Sure.
Okay, excellent. So the liquor license renewal is more than 90 days late, but less than 180. It's a $500 fee plus 25 bucks a day for more than 90 days. Was that previously in our code? Was that codified?
So anything that's redlined is changed in the code. So if it was in the packet redlined, that would be the change.
Okay. So yeah, it was read within the code, so that's new.
Yes.
Okay. And is this a standard across other municipalities? Is this why the need to change it to $500, but then $25 a day?
I am not sure what the discussion was behind that. I know that our office worked with Maya and the city attorney's office to create these changes. I don't know if there was a legislation that they were complying with the statewide.
State laws changed that
I'm
we have
asking
to.
Mark.
So this was the curveball after my traveling today. I was hoping not to get.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mark.
My recollection from Maya was that this was in compliance with state law changes, but don't hold me to that one. I will try to text her and get an answer real quick for you. But that's my recollection, that it was just done in compliance with state law, because we wouldn't just go out and make a change unless there was some motivation coming down from the state to do it. But I'll try to confirm that with it.
I'll maybe ask my second question before I make maybe an amendment, Councilor Buell. And then it said public hearing is set forth for modification or changes to a licensed premises. It says it may set forth a hearing, but not necessarily required. Will the clerk's office be the body that decides if a modification will go before a public hearing?
No, that would be either a council decision or the city manager's decision. If it's, I'm not sure if that section is under your purview or just city council. I'm not.
So
it would not be a decision by our staff.
Can I, Councilor Beal, can I please move to maybe table this until we get some clarification to some of these questions? Would that be okay? Okay. So, yeah, I move the table.
I'll second. Or can I second if I motion to
I'll second.
approve it? Okay, whatever.
Okay. That's all I had. Thank you.
Do we need to vote though?
Yes.
So vote to table. Great.
Mayor Yazzie. Yes. Councilor Koso.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Woodruff.
Yes.
Councilor Gonzalez. And Councilor Beal.
Yes.
And to clarify, we can table that to the next meeting
Yes, please.
with clarification.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
That brings us to item 8.6.1, which is an ordinance for text amendments to Chapter 27 of the City of Durango Municipal Code regarding the elimination of parcel area minimums for accessory dwelling units.
So I would like to maybe move to table this motion as well. I'll make the motion and then we can have discussion with a second.
The motion's to table. And do we have a timeline? Because my interest is tabling into January after the report from staff.
Do we have to clarify the timeline in which to table as part of the motion?
If you don't, it automatically goes to the next meeting.
Okay. I accept your friendly amendment.
Thanks.
Yeah, I second that. So
Okay.
any discussion?
Yeah. Yeah. So the reason I wanted to table it, so the whole premise, I think, at least, I'm the one who brought it forward before the council body. It was my hope to give it down to the Community Development Commission as a commission that was appointed by the body of council. And, even they had some challenges in trying to navigate some of this conversation. It seemed to me in watching the meeting is that they felt like they needed more information in order to make a really good decision. These are experts within our community that really had a challenging time trying to place how to best move forward with this. And then I think also, as per Councilor Coso, he would also like to see some more conversation and maybe a study session around enforcement and, moving forward with ADUs and having conversations around what that looks like. And then also we have an upcoming utility master plan, over the next year and change that might help give us some more information regarding this. So yeah, I guess with that in mind, I'd like to move to table this until after the study session in January, to give us all more information, including this body, but also the Community Development Commission to be able to maybe provide a recommendation based upon new information.
Thank you, Mayor. And so if I ever request for things I would like to be included, does that go to the counselor or does it go to staff? Just things I would like to be included if we have a briefing or
Like the study session?
session?
So at Councilor Coso, we've already passed the study session, then that will be forthcoming. And
Okay, but specifically related to compliance, can we expand that and include issues related to parking? Perhaps that's compliance as well, or related to just sort of a general overview of perhaps originally what we were trying to accomplish. Have we gotten there? So like just broader discussions beyond just lot sizes.
My request was specific to compliance. So both the affidavits that are supposed to be signed every 2 years, as well as owner occupancy on the lots. Those are the key considerations that I'm after. I think you're just starting to ask if you can broaden what that was.
I would feel more comfortable if we just had an overall briefing on the issue, because I think understanding if we're going to make an amendment, perhaps understanding just a broader conversation about ADUs. And that's included in the study session for staff. Is that something I need to?
It's probably something we need to bring up under new business is what I would think. Because it's not.
Is there like a procedure like to add on
feel like,
to a study session?
So, and look, I'll say this a million times, but these are your meetings. But technically, under Robert's rules on a motion to table, you are not supposed to have discussion. You should put the motion on the floor, get a second, have your discussion, and then the solution, if you're not comfortable with where you're at, is to table it. So we're under a motion to table, and now you're asking to expand the scope of the motion. I would tell you that I think that Councilor, I'm sorry, I'm sleep deprived, Gonzalez's motion is probably germane to the main motion. So it could be brought, and then if 3 people are in favor of it, you could expand it. But again, you guys are on a motion to table, which is supposed to be just limited to tabling it without discussion. I mean, you can have a little bit of discussion about why you want to table it, but when you start expanding into other topics, it gets hard to manage the discussion.
Okay, I'm supportive of tabling. Thank you.
Okay, so.
Yep. Just real quick, I'm just going to chime in about the tabling real quick. I want, we have a housing shortage, infill and doing ADUs. It's proven that we get 10 maybe a year, if that. This is not going to be some crazy where there's like 500 ADUs built in a year. People are hesitant to change, and I understand that. I do believe in compliance, and we have rules around ADUs where owners have to, live owner occupied somewhere. Like, that is important. And so I'm supportive of like making sure of it. But I feel like tabling this is just like kind of kicking it down the road again when we already have compliance rules in place. Maybe they're not followed or we're not enforcing them to the best of our ability. We maybe don't have the staff for that. I don't know the right answer. But all I'm saying is that I want to do it right, and but I also want to do what's best for our community. And I feel like fairness is best for our community in this regard, is what I'm just going to say. But I want to do it right. And if council supports tabling it, I support tabling it. It's fine. So it's not my hill to die on, but I just want to say, I hate this kicking things down the road because I feel like we don't accomplish anything when we do it. Anyway, there we go.
Okay, so we've had discussion. Could we get a vote on tabling this request until after the new year, including mainly what Kip wanted, his 2 items of enforcement and what was it, lot size?
Owner
occupancy, and then also it was germane. A little bit.
That needs to be something.
Okay,
That'll be a separate.
Okay, so let's just vote on that.
Counselor Koso,
Yes.
Counselor Beal,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Woodruff,
Yes.
Mayor Yazzie, sorry.
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez.
And Councilor Woodruff, I do have the information on the other one that was tabled, but it's tabled, so we'll just deal with it next time.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. So that brings us to the next item, which was pulled by the city attorney, 9.1, an ordinance considering the authorization of the sale of a city-owned parcel located at 1050 East 10th Street Place to the property owners of 1040 East 10th Street Place for the sum of $900,000 and the conveyance of an easement of 80% of the property back to the city.
Motion second.
Move to approve an ordinance considering the authorization of the sale of a city-owned parcel located at 1050 East 10th Street Place to the property owners of 1040 East 10th Street Place for the sum of $900,000 and the conveyance of an easement for 80% of the property back to the city.
Second.
Just made move to introduce, not move to approve.
Introduce. So sorry.
No, just to make sure.
And
I appreciate it.
An explanation for why I pulled this item. We don't have a place on our agenda for the introduction of ordinances not on the consent agenda. And just because of the nature of this ordinance and some phone calls that I got from other counselors, it was at my discretion to pull that and place that here so it wouldn't be on the consent agenda simply. Because it just felt like the input I was getting, it needed some additional consideration even at introduction. And I can explain, I've worked with the gentleman that has proposed this and the counselor that introduced it. So if you have any questions, I stand ready to answer them.
Sorry, we've had a motion and a second, so we're in discussion, correct? Okay. Shirley went first.
Second.
Okay.
Well, I was hoping for a presentation. That's what.
So it's just an introduction at this point. So I've got some points to make, if that helps. Council, this is a unique opportunity for the city to secure significant funding that can be used for a variety of important purposes, and I believe it's little to no negative impact to the city residents. The key point here is that there is a individual's property that a house can be built on, and they have purchased a property to build a house on it. So the neighboring section of land that is city land, they're asking to be able to adjust the house and move it over a little bit onto the land. Given the 80% easement, the city land is still protected in the trails, the sky steps, the view shed isn't changed significantly because there is a house getting built there anyway. And if anybody has seen the lot that's under question, it's on an incredibly steep hillside. It takes individuals with significant resources to be able to build there, and that house is going forward anyway. And so this, what I call a unicorn opportunity, I don't believe sets a precedent in any way, shape, or form. I believe it is an opportunity that we should take advantage of. The trails remain unaffected within the 80% easement. The adjacent neighbor is in favor of it. Significant revenue from the sale can go towards more beneficial purposes. And I believe that the city staff can come up with recommendations on excellent usage for that budget, as well as council discussions if the sale actually goes through.
And just from a procedural standpoint, the charter is very specific that any acquisition or conveyance of property is the word they use, has to be done by ordinance. So the only way to move this forward is with an ordinance. The introduction will trigger the administration performing an appraisal of the property to make sure that it's sold at or above market value, because that's a requirement under state law. It will also trigger us doing a title search on the property to make sure we understand how the city acquired it, to make sure that that doesn't then trigger these funds going to in a specific direction. As a part of the original idea to move this forward, there were some concessions that there would be a posting on the property and there would be a mailing to the property owners. All those things don't happen until we have a majority of you saying to go forward. So you get the presentation, you'll get the appraisal, you'll get the advertisement done, and you'll get the title research prior to consideration. It's all, we're gonna have to work quick to do that at this point, and it's even possible we may ask for a delay, but we should be able to get all those things done. We just can't do them until we know majority of the council wants to go forward.
Shirley, did you have your hand up?
Oh, did I have no, no.
Okay, I have my hand up. Okay, so when this was brought forth last week, I voted no on it because this is public land, it's public resources, it's natural resources, which makes our community beautiful. It's on a hillside. There probably will be lights. And I just think that if we go ahead and start allowing builders to develop public lands, that we won't have the beautiful place that we live in currently. So I'm a no vote on this proposal.
Councilor Buell?
Yes.
Councilor Gonzalez? Councilor Cosa?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Woodruff?
Yes.
Mayor Yazzie?
No.
There are no public hearings under item 10. Under item 11, 11.1 is a resolution reaffirming the city's of Durango's commitment to everyone in the community and our community well-being based on previously approved 2004 and 2015 resolutions submitted by Councilor Buell.
Sorry. I move to approve a resolution reaffirming the city of Durango's commitment to everyone in the community and our community well-being based on previously approved 2004 and 2015 resolutions.
Second.
So I just talked with Councilor Buell, you're losing your voice. And so she'd asked if I could read this resolution. We also have somebody here who will read it also in Spanish. So we'll kind of tag team with this to get it read before a discussion and presentation, if that's okay. Okay. So I'll read the paragraph, stop paragraph. Awesome. Okay. So this is Councilor Buell's proposed resolution. It starts off with a resolution of the city of Durango, Colorado, reaffirming the city's commitment to all residents, community safety, and the public service mission of local law enforcement.
Una resolución de la ciudad de Durango, Colorado, que reafirma el compromiso de la ciudad con todos sus residentes.
Whereas on July 6, 2004, the city of Durango adopted Resolution R 2004-40, which recognized that Durango has always been a home for immigrants who contribute to our city's cultural richness and diversity, and declared that all persons shall be treated with equal respect and dignity, regardless of immigration status, and
La seguridad comunitaria y la misión de servicio público de las fuerzas del orden de los órdenes locales, considerando que el 6 de julio de 2004 la ciudad de Durango adoptó la resolución R-2004-40, la cual reconoció que Durango siempre ha sido un hogar para migrantes que contribuyen a la riqueza cultural y diversidad de nuestra ciudad. Y declaro que todas las personas deben ser tratadas igual, con respeto y dignidad, sin importar su estatus migratorio y
Whereas on August 4th, 2015, the city of Durango adopted Resolution R-2015-32, which clarified that the city is not and has never been a sanctuary city, while reaffirming the city's policy to discourage all forms of discrimination and promote social harmony. And
considerando que el 4 de agosto de 2015, la ciudad de Durango adoptó la resolución R-2015-32, que aclaró que la ciudad nunca ha sido una ciudad santuario, mientras reafirma la política de la ciudad de desalentar todas las formas de discriminación y promover la armonía social y
whereas an increase in federal immigration enforcement activity and recent actions by other Colorado communities such as Pitkin County, Aspen, and Glenwood Springs have highlighted the importance of reasserting and strengthening the city's foundational policies to ensure our community remains a safe and welcoming place for all. And
considerando el aumento en la actividad de aplicación de las leyes migratorias federales, así como acciones recientes por parte de otras comunidades de Colorado, como el condado de Pitkin, Aspen y Glenwood Springs, han resaltado la importancia de reafirmar y fortalecer las políticas fundamentales de la ciudad para asegurar que nuestra comunidad siga siendo un lugar seguro y acogedor para todos y
whereas the immigrant workforce is essential to the economic vitality of Colorado, holding 11.7% of jobs statewide and representing a higher labor force participation rate. With these crucial contributions mirrored in Durango's own service industries, construction and hospitality sectors, and collectively driving significant economic activity with an estimated household spending power of $21.3 billion. And
considerando que la fuerza laboral inmigrante es esencial para la vitalidad económica de Colorado, ocupando el 11.7% de los empleos a nivel estatal y representando una mayor tasa de participación en la fuerza laboral. Con estas contribuciones reflejadas también en los sectores de servicios, construcción y hospitalidad de Durango, impulsando colectivamente una actividad económica significada con un poder adquisitivo estimado de los hogares de 21.3 mil millones y
whereas the City Council of Durango finds that the well-being and safety of all residents, including our immigrant neighbors, are integral to our local economy and cultural fabric. And
considerando que el Consejo Municipal de Durango considera que el bienestar y la seguridad de todos los residentes, incluyendo nuestros vecinos inmigrantes, son fundamentales para nuestra economía local y el tejido cultural de la ciudad y
whereas the Durango Police Department's mission, one department, one community, one Durango, commits its officers to building trust, protecting the vulnerable, and preventing crime. And
considerando que la misión del Departamento de Policía de Durango, un departamento, una comunidad, un Durango, compromete a sus oficiales a construir confianza, proteger a los más vulnerables y prevenir el crimen y
whereas a clear, unified mission from the City Council is essential to empower our local law enforcement to effectively perform their duties while maintaining the trust of the community they serve. And
considerando que un mensaje claro y unificado por parte del Consejo Municipal es esencial para empoderar a nuestras fuerzas del orden local a desempeñar eficazmente sus funciones mientras mantienen la confianza de la comunidad a la que sirven.
now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Durango, Colorado,
Por lo tanto, se resuelve por el Consejo Municipal de la Ciudad de Durango, Colorado.
Section 1, the City Council reaffirms its unwavering support for the well-being of every member of the Durango community, recognizing that all residents are an integral part of our city.
El Consejo Municipal reafirma su apoyo inquebrantable al bienestar de todos los miembros de la comunidad de Durango, reconociendo que todos los residentes son parte integral de nuestra ciudad.
Section 2, the City of Durango shall continue its policy to strengthen community safety and trust, requiring federal judicial warrants for cooperation on federal immigration enforcement.
Sección 2. La ciudad de Durango continuará su política de fortalecer la seguridad y confianza comunitarias, requiriendo órdenes judiciales federales para cooperar con la aplicación de leyes migratorias federales.
Section 3, the City Council publicly affirms its support for the Durango Police Department and its commitment to building trust and protecting all residents without inquiring about immigration status or using local resources for federal immigration enforcement.
Sección 3. El Consejo Municipal afirma públicamente su apoyo al Departamento de Policía de Durango en su compromiso de generar confianza y proteger a todos los residentes sin preguntar sobre su estatus migratorio ni utilizar recursos locales para la aplicación de leyes migratorias federales.
Section 4, the City of Durango will continue to work to ensure all residents can access essential municipal services without unnecessary barriers, including citizenship or immigration status checks.
Sección 4. La ciudad de Durango continuará trabajando para asegurar que todos los residentes puedan acceder a servicios municipales esenciales sin barreras innecesarias, incluyendo revisiones de ciudadanía o estatus migratorio.
Section 5, the City of Durango will work strategically to support its immigrant communities through trusted intermediaries, including faith organizations, schools, clinics, and nonprofits.
Sección 5. La ciudad de Durango trabajará estratégicamente para apoyar a sus comunidades inmigrantes a través de intermediarios confiables, incluyendo organizaciones religiosas, escuelas, clínicas y organizaciones sin fines de lucro.
Section 6, the City of Durango will use universal framing such as resident inclusion and community safety in public communications concerning all persons living in Durango and will make no distinction between individuals or groups based on their federal immigration status.
Sección 6. La ciudad de Durango utilizará un lenguaje inclusivo como inclusión de residentes y seguridad comunitaria en las comunicaciones públicas relacionadas con todas las personas que viven en Durango, sin hacer distinción alguna entre individuos o grupos según su estatus migratorio federal.
Section 7, the City Council will establish a task force including immigrant leaders and community advocates to guide policy, audit existing municipal policies for compliance with this resolution and equal access to resources.
Sección 7. El Consejo Municipal establecerá un grupo de trabajo que incluirá líderes inmigrantes y defensores comunitarios para orientar políticas, auditar las políticas municipales existentes y asegurar el cumplimiento de esta resolución y el acceso equitativo a los recursos.
Section 8, this resolution shall serve as a clear and unified message that the City of Durango stands with all its residents and with its local police department, reinforcing that Durango is a place where all people are treated with respect and dignity under the law.
Sección 8. Esta resolución servirá como un mensaje claro y unificado de que la ciudad de Durango apoya a todos sus residentes y a su departamento de policía local, reafirmando que Durango es un lugar donde todas las personas son tratadas con respeto y dignidad conforme a la ley.
Approved and adopted this 7th day of October 2025.
Aprobada y adoptada este 7 de octubre de 2025.
Okay. So I wanted City Council to know, just because I didn't send out any emails or anything while I was creating the resolution. It was a lot of work. I worked with the city attorney's office to make sure we were meeting all city code. I worked with Chief and Jose to make sure that we were meeting like their goals and things they wanted. I did use Eagle, Pitkin counties, Aspen, and Glenwood Springs as well to kind of see what they did and what their communities supported, and threw all that in there. I did look at the language and that we were reminded about our federal grants to make sure we weren't going to do anything that could, subject ourselves to like pulling a ton of money out of our airport and whatnot. But then I think most importantly, as we were creating this, Chief actually brought it up and he's like, your like and I did feel weird, like you're speaking for the immigrant community. And I do feel like, just like people set up here, that we do in future, like it should be done by the task force. But I thought this was an important step to say, like, we want a task force and we support the community. So I did talk to Olivia DePablo and Enrique on Zoom meetings and numerous times in the last few weeks to kind of get their feedback on what I was doing and find like where they thought what was important for them, for us to come across and stuff. So it was a collective effort on everyone's part. Even Beatrice emailed while she was gone and working hard or whatever. I was asking for stats from her. So I just wanted to say I didn't just go off on my own and just write a resolution in case anyone cared. Like I really tried and spent a lot of time to try to make sure that it was supported by our community and like a good first step. And I'm not saying it's perfect and I'm not saying it's everything everyone wants, but it's like a good balance of, I felt, of chief and the attorney and our like some representatives from our immigrant community. So anyways, if you have questions, and then what other people have done as well. Sorry.
I guess I have a statement that I wanted to read as part of this. I want to encourage individuals fighting against federal abusive practices to pressure our state and federal representatives that hold almost all the power in our current situation. Municipal representatives have very little power here and risk much by becoming a retribution target. Loss of federal funds for transportation is one example, may be an acceptable risk for some in our community, but the population most hurt by financial cuts likely would be our low-income and immigrant workforce dependent on things like bus service. I'm interested in doing things that keep 10 or 20 local families whose lives have already been shattered by the federal government from becoming 50 families that are torn apart by actions of ICE, along with defunded transportation and other vital services. I worry about escalation. That's not a reason not to move forward, but when we do move forward, we should move forward with those concerns as part of the discussion. So thank you for your work. And I know you were very busy with other things at the same time as you were doing this as well. So appreciate your work there. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, thank you. This is great. I'm very impressed with all the work that was presented and, all the people that got together to work on this issue. I guess I just wanted to just reinforce, Mark, you had a chance to review and there's nothing in here that gives you pause.
Correct. I think this is as far as we can go without doing things that would give me pause.
Okay.
I spent a lot of time looking at the supremacy clause and doing my job and helping Jessica formulate some of the specific language of the Senate. But yeah, I'm very comfortable with it.
Great. Thank you. And I think that's, really important because we know as a municipality, as mentioned, like we can be at risk. However, it was even presented in our very first presentation regarding transportation that some of those pilot projects fundings are perhaps delayed or maybe not forthcoming, that had nothing to do with this issue. So we know that funding is at risk at every level, and I think it's worth it to have a statement from the council saying that this is an issue that we really want to address. And I guess, is the chief here? He left. Okay. So Bob, but maybe you can you answer any questions I have?
Jose was on emails with the chief too.
Okay. And so I guess just, regarding we know that there's going to be a task force and I know that perhaps we'll discuss it a little bit further later on. But I do think it's really important that the task force addresses some community concerns, that there is an ongoing way for people to come forward and feel comfortable doing that, and whether that's through a third party. Do you have any information to date that shows that people have not been reporting, or that people are perhaps I guess what I'm saying is that in this resolution, we want to ensure that our community feels comfortable coming forward. And do you all have a way of regularly communicating with Perhaps that could be an extension of the task force, that you have regular meetings where people are coming forward and reporting issues.
I know the chief has gone out and he's made connections with the community and the vital community members that are out there in order to encourage that to occur. That happened during my administration as well. Just trying to get people to build trust in the police department so they would report that and not fear of retribution that we'd be reporting it to outside authorities or outside of our jurisdiction. So I know that work has continued under Chief Current. And with the task force, the way I envision it too is just to continue to build on that foundation and to continue to work on building that as well. But a lot of the task force, from my understanding, is going to be real community involvement with that. And we would just be liaisons to them to help, develop that trust along with that.
Good. Well, I'm really excited about that because I know that that's really ongoing conversations that people feel comfortable reporting, but that they also then feel protected, that they're not going to be unfairly targeted or something like that. So thank you for that. So this is great. I appreciate all of the work from Councilor Buell and everybody that came forward to work on this issue, especially our city attorneys, our chief, and Councilor Buell. Thank you.
Just as an FYI, Mayor and Council, we also do have our Community and Cultural Relations Commission that meets monthly that y'all have appointed that is headed through our Community Engagement Specialist, Clancy.
Oh, thank you.
All righty, I'll go ahead and close discussion. Could we get a vote?
Councilor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mayor Yazzie,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Woodruff,
Yes.
Councilor Buell,
Yes.
Councilor Koso.
Yes.
Brings us to item 11.2, a resolution directing the city manager to present the city council possible options and modifications of the land use code and code of ordinances to allow electric fences and electric mats for deterring bear access.
Move to.
Submitted by Councilor
Apologies,
Koso.
I stepped on you there. So move to adopt a resolution directing the city manager to present to the city council possible options and modifications to the land use development code and code of ordinances to allow electric fences and electric mats for deterring bear access.
Second.
Council, there's several points to be made on moving forward on this resolution. I'd point councilors to the ongoing work with Brian Peterson and Bear Smart. We've certainly seen nothing but positive feedback coming in around making this change. This is a rare issue that really has zero negative feedback and nothing but positive affirmation from residents. It's been successfully used in La Plata County for years and years with thousands of electric fences in place. I would reiterate that electric hurts and deters. It does not harm and is one tool that can help with our ongoing bear issues. It's a very effective tool, especially around heritage fruit trees, beehives, chicken coops, and other opportunity feeding options in towns.
Would be, is there, and there's no presentation, right, about, that's for next time? Is there a presentation about fencing?
I don't have a presentation today, no.
Will there be a presentation forthcoming? I guess I just, this is.
Councilor, I don't think we can have a presentation on every item that comes across on the
I don't
agenda.
know anything about electric bears or electric fencing or like what that, I mean, will people get killed if they are in contact with an electric fence? I don't know anything about this. And so I want to be supportive of your issues, but like, I've never heard anybody say, I think we really need to have electric fence.
So
Rather, we did hear somebody today. So, but I mean, usually there's an ordinance, a standard that says these are the fences you can use.
So as I see the resolution, it directs the city manager to present those issues at a future meeting.
Okay, that's what I was asking. Will there be a presentation? So.
Yeah, as I interpret the resolution. Yeah, as I interpret the resolution.
Yes, I support.
The presentation will be about changing the ordinance. However, it may not be as educational as you're looking for on electric fencing. So I guess I can't speak for what the city manager might present.
I would say that it would have a little bit to do. I mean, it's going to talk about what a bear fence is, the maximum electricity that goes in, and probably look at some other communities that have this and then say, here's how we would need to change our ordinances to allow this if this is what the council deems necessary. There may be one way, there may be more than one way. And then from there, the council can direct the staff which which possible option they want, or if they don't even want to go forward with it. Because all this is just for me to present, and this is what we would need to do to change our ordinance to allow these two.
Mayor Yazzie?
Wow. I'm gonna go no.
Mayor Pro Tem Woodruff?
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez? Counselor Koso?
Yes.
Counselor Beal?
You're trying to mimic me. You're making fun of me.
Right there.
Yes. Rude.
That brings us to item 12.1, consideration of ordinances. This is consideration of an ordinance amending in pertinent part the Durango Code of Ordinances, Chapter 13, Licenses and Business Regulations, Article 1, General Business Licenses, Section 13.2, License Required.
All right. Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Heidi Wise, here representing the Financial Services Department, and here to talk about items 12.1, Ordinance Amending Durango Code of Ordinances, Chapter 13, License and Business Regulation, and item 12.2, Ordinance Amending Durango Code of Ordinances, Chapter 23, Taxation. And this presentation will address both items 12.1 and 12.2. Just want to link it back to our mission, vision, values, but also wanted to address how these changes in city code can ensure the organization has the resources and approaches in place to support strategic and operational focus. So, just going to say it, Colorado sales tax requirements can be very difficult to navigate and confusing for business owners. Why is that? Well, we have over 60 home rule jurisdictions which can set their own taxability, their own reporting requirements, and require a separate online portal to remit and file your taxes each month. So what are we doing to help? Our sales tax team has been building resources for businesses, online resources, but also initiatives where business owners can come ask questions and get some real answers about taxability and our home rule city code. Also, we are trying to clean up our city code, and that is why I'm here today. We want to make our city code easy to understand and navigate by all individuals and all business types. So, item 12.1, an ordinance amending in pertinent part the Durango Code of Ordinance, Chapter 13, License and Business Regulations, Article 1, General Business License, Section 13-2, Licenses Required. In the top gray box, you'll have our current license requirements, and the bottom red is the proposed addition. It's just a simple definition that says it is the duty of every person engaged in business in the city to file a sales tax return directly with the city of Durango in accordance with the requirements of Chapter 23 of the Code of Ordinances. And we want to make sure that when you are filing or registering for business license, you understand that there is a sales tax requirement. You don't have to go to Chapter 23 and read all of the legal jargon to understand that you have a sales tax liability. It's right there in Chapter 13. And item 12.2, an ordinance amending in pertinent part the Durango Code of Ordinance, Chapter 23, Taxation, Article 2, Sales and Use Tax, Section 23-16, Words and Phrases defined and creating Section 23-19.1, Marketplace Sales. So this is a fun addition, just a lot of new proposed definitions, and this is actually adopting this CML's model ordinance that was set back in 2020. But basically, we want to adopt the economics nexus definition, which is a sales tax obligation that's created by economic activity, not necessarily a physical presence. So this is basically just for our remote sellers that are shipping items into the city of Durango. They are most likely charging our citizens sales tax, but not necessarily filing with us. So this just gives us the teeth to be able to make them comply and give us those sales tax dollars. All the definitions are, of course, included in the ordinance, but I wanted to just give a brief summary of why we're doing this, and that's basically it. We want to make sure that these sales that are creating an economic activity are actually being benefited towards our community. So why are we doing this? I have a bunch of bullets why, but basically we're just trying to promote compliance and accountability, maybe increase some sales tax revenue, and most importantly, ensure fairness across businesses. We don't want to make just our local businesses comply, but all businesses that create an impact to our economy. And I just wanted to provide some references to other municipalities that have this already adopted. In the lower right-hand corner is a snip from actually CML's website. It's only a tiny portion of the communities that have already adopted, but I just wanted to provide how many of these communities, home rule jurisdictions, have this exact code, again, creating consistency throughout Colorado. And then referencing quite a few communities, specifically Fort Collins, just creating that same exact kind of easy definition to understand if you're engaging in business, you need to be filing a return. And then just a quick shout out to our sales tax team. This is one of our initiatives that we've done in 2025 is our monthly sales tax office hours at the library. Again, just providing a space for business owners to come ask questions. Again, sales tax can be confusing, and we want to just provide any type of resources we can. Questions?
Thanks, MC. Appreciate it. Just a couple of small questions. A, what's attendance like at the library for your office hours?
Honestly, not great.
Okay. All right. But that's great that you offer it, and I appreciate that as well. The other question I had then is on the sales tax that you had intimated was at times charged and yet not remitted back to the city. With the passage of this, can we go back, or do we have the staff resources and ability to go back and potentially capture some of that sales tax even in previous years or just in 2025?
Yeah, we have a 3-year look back period, and we actually use a third-party auditor called Revenue Recovery Group that helps us with some of that.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So is it like an online platform that kind of scours some of those transactions to know who to be able to?
No, I was like, is there a motion? I just realized that I don't think we had a motion.
Sorry. And this would be for both, correct?
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize.
There you go.
It's their fault. They should know they can't talk until the motion's made.
Because he asked the question.
I'll go ahead and take care of it. I'll make a motion to approve an ordinance amending in pertinent part the Durango Code of Ordinances, Chapter 13, Licenses and Business Regulations, Article 1, General Business Licenses, Section 13-2, License Required. And can I do both of them at the same time or one at a time? Okay.
Second.
Okay. Vote for that, or discussion. Now discussion.
Well,
yeah.
Okay.
So is my question? Yeah, I think my question more has to do with the second.
Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem Woodruff,
Yes.
Councilor Beal,
Yes.
Mayor Yazzie,
Yes.
Councilor Kosef,
Yes.
Councilor Gonzalez.
Can someone else make the motion? My voice is
You're doing great.
rough.
Move that we consider an ordinance amending in pertinent part the Durango Code of Ordinances, Chapter 23, Taxation, Article 2, Sales and Use Tax.
Second.
Now Dave's question.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
So will we employ a software system that goes and scours and knows who to ask for remittance of sales tax, or can you kind of walk me through how do we know if somebody hasn't remitted sales tax to the city?
Yeah, within the city limits, it's pretty easy because they require a license. And as soon as they're licensed, we put in like a open form for them. And if you're not filing, we can easily show that you're not filing. Nationally, it can be a little bit more tricky. And that's why we use Revenue Recovery Group, and they can utilize their national platforms and see what other municipalities that they might be contracting with, if they're remitting in that location, kind of see if the taxability is the same in our location, and leverage that same information. And they work really well for us. And they have actually recommended changing our city order.
Gotcha. And then I assume there's a cost incurred with using the platform.
Revenue recovery, actually, they take like a tiny portion of the tax collected. So it's no like additional cost aside from, like, we wouldn't be receiving those revenues anyways. So they take a small portion.
So it's like an attorney, you know, like we'll only charge you if we win. So sounds like they're
They'll do like a pre-audit and see if the liability is even worthwhile. And if it's not, they won't move forward. If it is, they'll give us like an estimated cost of how much we would receive. And then we make a decision if we want to move forward or not.
great. Yeah, I just want to make sure we're not paying $20,000 a year for this and then receiving $5.
And the initial cost for like the preliminary audit is like $400.
Okay. Wow, that's great. Thanks so much.
Alrighty, I have a question, Heidi. Now, is there any way that we could get notified when people fail to pay their sales tax before they go out of business?
Ooh, great question. If the business license holder is doing the proper steps, they submit a closure form, and we do check tax if they've remitted all their sales tax before we allow their closure. However, that doesn't always happen perfectly. Some people just leave there and move away from Durango. And we can file a tax lien in those situations. And that's normally our best recourse in that particular situation.
Any other discussion? Alrighty, could we get a vote?
Councilor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Councilor Koso?
Yes.
Mayor Yazzie?
Yes.
Councilor Beal?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Woodruff?
Yes.
That brings us to item 12.3, an ordinance authorizing the city manager of the city of Durango to accept a donation of land from South Fork Gateway LLC and to execute an agreement and all closing documents to accept the land donation.
Evening. Best for last. Good evening, councilors, Mayor Yazzie and Council. Daniel Murray with Community Development, joined by Owen Talmadge in Parks and Rec. This being a partnership of two departments, we are going to be co-presenting to you this evening. Some background on how we got here. This came to you all, this land donation, back at your May 6th council meeting for a study session. This was also placed on your September 16th agenda for introduction of ordinance, and this evening is consideration of the ordinance, where we give you a presentation. And if there's action taken tonight, it'll be on final reading at your next hearing, or your next meeting on October 21st. So the item before you is consideration of an ordinance authorizing the city manager of the city of Durango to accept a land donation from South Fork Gateway LLC, to execute an agreement and all closing documents associated with that land donation. I will note that the applicant, landowner, is here this evening as well. And from here, I'll turn it over to my colleague.
Thanks, Danny. Thank you. Again, Owen Talmadge, Natural Resource Manager with City of Durango Parks and Rec. I'm going to give you a brief overview of what we looked at back during the study session. So the subject property is out just west of Three Springs off the, off the Grandview interchange on Wilson Gulch Drive. So there's actually two parcels of land. Collectively, they make up about 15 acres. They're within the existing city limits, and they're adjacent to the developed Maverick gas station and the McDonald's restaurant, and is bound on the west and north by Bureau of Land Management land. The land is currently owned by South Fork Gateway LLC and is being offered as dedication to the city of Durango at no cost to the city. A little bit more about the land itself. It is currently undeveloped. It's dominated primarily with a pinyon juniper woodland, some steep rocky slopes, and a variety of native plants and vegetation. A few items here as to why the owners are offering this land as dedication to the city. Well, the topography is such that there's really a limited footprint for commercial development, and the owners have an interest in providing the public open spaces and recreational opportunities in the area. Now, these open spaces and these recreational opportunities will not only provide a general benefit to the community, but they also will serve to draw people to the area and hopefully further activate businesses and potentially spur additional development within the subdivision. The property owners will also no longer have tax responsibility for the land. It's worth noting that the city would not acquire that tax responsibility. It just would no longer be subject to property taxes.
Great. I'll speak to a bit of the broader context here. We're looking at a map of South Fork. As it's known, this area was annexed into the city in 2011. When it was annexed, it was zoned planned development, PD. With planned development, that's an overlay. A master plan was created. It's known as the South Fork Character District Master Plan. That master plan specifies specific uses for land, and you see what has generally been the pattern of development. There's predominantly commercial development. This area is known as a commercial regional hub. It has retail service and healthcare related uses that have been built out over the years. Now, the parcels in red are in contrast to those in green. That's where the subject parcels are. They're classified as rural. Rural land is contemplating uses such as single family residential, so just one home, or outdoor recreation uses. And in reading and in doing this preparation, what's being proposed, if the city were to acquire the land, is in alignment with the contemplated land use of outdoor recreational uses. Those uses were identified due to what Owen had just indicated, which is the steep slopes make them rather limited for development. And that's a bigger picture of land use.
So sticking with the bigger picture here, in 2020, the city Parks and Recreation underwent an extensive process to develop the Parks, Open Space, Trails, and Recreation Master Plan. Now, this included quite a bit of public engagement, and through that, it identified community values and priorities for open space lands. Now, this subject property really does align with the majority of the values and priorities that were identified as part of this master plan process. So we feel pretty comfortable that we are following through with the community's interests with proposing this donation. This project also aligns with the city's strategic plan of safety and quality of life, and that is to continue the ongoing maintenance, preservation, and acquisition of quality parks, trails, and natural lands. There are a few existing conditions worth noting. There's noxious weeds on the property, a pretty thick patch in one area. There's energy development, oil and gas leases, and there's a history of stormwater runoff and erosion associated with the property. Now, that's not to say that these can't be addressed. The weeds, we feel, can be mitigated, controlled, potentially eradicated with some general mowing, spraying, and overseeding. The lessees of the oil and gas infrastructure also lease and operate on the adjacent BLM land. We've spoken with the BLM. They've had a really good history with this operator, never had any issues. We've also requested that the property owner provide an environmental assessment of the two parcels. which they did, and came back clean. There was no environmental issues found on either parcel. And the stormwater erosion, the downstream property owner, the Maverick property, is currently completing some significant stormwater improvements to help safely convey that water through their property. So the hope is that it'll mitigate any future issues.
Thank you. And that brings us to the proposed motion, which is to authorize city manager of the city of Durango to accept a land donation from South Fork Gateway LLC and to execute an agreement and all closing documents to accept the land donation.
Move to consider an ordinance authorizing city manager of the city of Durango to accept the donation of land from South Fork Gateway LLC and to execute agreement and all closing documents to accept the land donation.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Thank you again for the presentation. So when we accept this land, is it categorized as parkland, as open space, as public space? Does it have a designation?
Speak to that. In this case, the land would stay as designated because rural does fit what is the most near-term use, which is passive and active open space.
And so the city can just leave it like that, just rural.
We did debate that because we do have lots of parks and they are a different land use classification, but this land use classification does fit.
Okay, and so should there be, well, I think you mentioned it's not usable, but if we wanted it to be parkland, that would be done at some future date?
We could rezone it.
Okay,
It's
should
zoned
that-
PD, so it really, we debated this, it really wouldn't change what the intended use is, and the overlay of PD is the most versatile. 'Cause it
What is
fits the
PD?
Plan development, so it's what we commonly do when we have master plan communities like South Fork or Three Springs.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem Woodruff,
Yes.
Mayor Yazzie,
Yes.
Councilor Gonzalez, Councilor Buell,
Yes.
Councilor Koso.
Yes.
That brings us to item 13, public comment on city matters not under consideration tonight. Could we have the recording, Tom? This section. The first person signed up is Haley Chandler.
Hello, everyone. My name is Haley Chandler, and I am an FLC student here. And here, I want to introduce my classmates as well.
Good evening, Mayor, City Councilors. We come to you. I'm Lilian Benale. I'm a Fort Lewis College student. On the behalf of a class that is taught by Becky Clausen, it was mentioned prior on the project. A class of 23 students are collaborating together on sort of the topic and perspectives of the Animas River. We all come together with unique perspectives based on not just the ethics, the efficiency of the Animas River, but also the individual connection and spirituality that connects the community to the Animas River. And regarding the principle, we all have different perspectives, but it's the principle of put, water is life. And regarding that, of the topic of the Animas River being its own entity. And so I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to my other classmate here.
As a class, we are in the beginning stages of this water project. We have been divided into groups to explore case studies, communications, outreach, and collecting data. We plan to send out a survey to the Fort Lewis College community and the Durango community regarding whether the Animas River has rights to flowing freely, the rights to maintain its natural cycle, and the rights to be free from pollution.
Hi, my name is Erin Hilliard, and I'm also here to speak on behalf of the Fort Lewis College Water Justice class. Based on our community research and findings, as Haley just mentioned, our class hopes to spark community passion for our local river, the Animas, and engage the city of Durango to work towards the common goal of keeping our beloved Animas River clean, free-flowing, and maintain its natural state in the best interest of ecology, recreation, culture, health, and more. Our class representatives are here to engage City Council and the community of Durango to bring this movement to new business in order to start a resolution for the Animas River's intrinsic rights. Thank you.
So Erin Hilliard, you spoke along with Haley, is that correct? Yeah. And so I would have Leona Benali, and that's all three of you. Okay, great. Thank you. So next up would be Jane Ferrara. Jane Ferrara. Antonio Espinoza.
Question, could I get 2 minutes on top, please? I don't know if I'm going to need it, but I would rather have that extra and then throw it back to you than need it and not have it.
Move to suspend the rules for an extra 2 minutes by Mr. Espinoza. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to take that as a yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. This is not the first, second, or third time I've been up here. The issue of homelessness in the city has been really difficult to address. I sent Senator Woodruff an email, I believe, yesterday regarding a request. I don't think I actually specified it, but it's a request to allot a plot of land this winter for the homeless community to actually set up camp at. Senator Corso made a mention earlier about 50 families being displaced because of this whole federal debacle that's going on. I don't know if anyone's aware, but there are around about 50 individuals who are displaced with homelessness and have been for the last half decade since the closure of the Purple Cliffs. I've gotten myself in a position where like I'm finally on a statewide committee. I'm on a local advisory board for homeless advocacy, and I'm trying to work this plan through. And if you guys can make it an agenda item, I would really like the opportunity to take lead on a project of running a temporary managed campground, preferably above the Aspero facility, where it's low impact to the regular community, not particularly dangerous, not exposed to wildlife and bears, and a place where, I can work hand in hand with law enforcement in terms of making sure that that no amount of trash will accumulate. There's no violation of other city ordinances. That's the general concept. I sent an email to Senator Woodruff. I would really appreciate an opportunity to get this to be an agenda item and put it up for consideration. I don't want this to be another Purple Cliffs. I don't expect a repeat of something that cost the city $700,000, but I would like to start taking steps in the right direction to addressing homelessness on a larger scale. Thank you.
Next would be Uriah Stockton. Uriah Stockton. Next would be Mia Caruso Songer. Next would be Jocelyn Corbett. The last one in this group is Chris Cottrell. I believe Chris is online, Tom.
We don't see him any longer online.
It does not appear that Chris Cottrell is online, so I will mark him as not here as well. We did have two other people sign up. They did sign up on 11.2 and 11.1. Both items have already been called. One is also Chris Cottrell, and the other is Rachel Turiel. So that would conclude public comment. And that brings us to the next item, which is 14.1, creation of a city council appointed task force, a task force to seek ways in which the city can assist the immigrant population, submitted by Councilor Buell.
Yeah, so I'd like to propose the creation of a task force appointed by City Council, in which the task force can seek ways to assist the immigrant population through various ideas, outreach, depending on how it's going. I'm going to suggest that both someone from the city attorney's office and someone from the PD is involved in it, as well as someone or two people from CCRC. And then I have a list of other people that are super involved in our immigrant community. And I'd like the city manager to work with staff, assuming Clancy, to kind of set like some like general ideas and guidelines on how they think this could work the best and most effectively. And then we can decide how many people we want to appoint to the task force and decide if just a couple of us want to do interviews. If we want everyone to do interviews, I would suggest that maybe some new rules and procedures that have been suggested, kind of see how we can do it and see if we can just make Kip happy without a study session in January.
Is that your motion?
That's my motion. If I get council support.
I'll second.
Anyone questions?
So thank you, Mayor. So thank you, Councilor Buell. I guess just for clarification, and perhaps that will evolve as we get a little bit further. I would just hope that however it gets staffed, that they will then come brief the council, brief the public about whatever action is taken in the task force.
And I think the idea when I was talking to like Olivia in particular, is that like actionable items we can actually take, we do, but then maybe actionable items that other entities can take, they do. And some things are kind of left not in the full public eye. Because that was requested actually.
Well, I'm very supportive. I just would hope that at some point the findings of the task force are then brought to the council for approval. Okay, thank you.
So would you like this to come back as a resolution once you've identified all the things you mentioned tonight?
Whatever we need to create a task force. You're in charge of that resolution ordinance.
I think a
My
resolution.
magic wand, whatever you need.
A task force, I think you can do by resolution.
Great.
And we can even put in the resolution that they have to report back at a certain intervals.
Beautiful.
Just a question on components of it, how it's operating. This would be proposed at the next meeting.
Yeah.
And then we could modify those proposals if we want. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was following.
Looking for advice.
Yeah.
Better.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's like studied it and stuff, you know.
I have one question. Okay, so in the resolution we passed earlier in reference to this issue, it was only like community members and another group, and it wasn't required to have city council on this task force. Is that correct?
Not city council on the task force. It's a city council appointed task force. I mean, if we want to appoint someone from city council, But I think that it's better that they do the work and then we, without anyone influencing.
Okay, so they're going to be self-motivating, pretty much. All righty. I'd rather that staff was just, if we go this far, they're only facilitators. They're not directing. I think that the task force should be able to create whatever motivation this task force has.
Well, but I think that staff needs to have boundaries on what we can actually do as a city council, because there is a lot of things we can't do, but other entities can. And so I think that that's where it's good to have staff involvement to guide, just like with the resolution, I think.
All righty. With staff involvement, there also comes wages. How's that going to be worked out?
Just like anything, I guess. It takes
they're
staff time.
they're going to work for free.
And it takes staff time, just like any resolution or initiative we do, CCRs, we have all of them.
Staff
And
liaisons exist on current boards and commissions, and
if
it's just
important
another
topic,
aspect
then
of those.
That's what we do.
Okay, so my concern, and we don't have to discuss this right now, is just the cost to the city, and also I do feel like the staff already has a considerable amount of work to do already, that adding another task to them is a little bit overwhelming. Okay, so can we get a vote?
Mayor Yazzie,
Yes.
Counselor Koza,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Woodruff,
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez, Counselor Beal.
Yes.
And that brings us to adjournment.
Actually, Mayor, if you don't mind,
Oh, new business, I'm sorry.
I would actually, under new business for next meeting, direct city manager's office to work in conjunction with the water justice class and coming up with a resolution to celebrate and make sure that we all know how important the Annis River is to us. No, it would just go into new business to consider for next meeting.
It's new business. Yeah. Okay, we're adjourned. So you got the one new business item. That's it. We're done. Okay, so what I heard is we're going to